A told you to work harder. So you did. You woke early, pushed past exhaustion, sacrificed joy for the promise of more. More money, more recognition, more security. But the rich, the truly rich, they do something different. They don't work harder. They obey faster. They respond to divine instructions with speed, with trust, with faith, not force. Because wealth isn't built by sweat alone. It's built by surrender. The rich are not chosen. They are aligned. They follow the law of obedience, the law that whispers, turn here, speak now, release that, give this, say yes. And they say yes without delay. That's the difference. It's not ambition. It's not luck. It's not effort. It's obedience. Spiritual wealth doesn't come from grinding. It comes from listening and obeying the voice that guides. Most people miss their moment, not because they didn't try, but because they hesitated when heaven spoke. They wanted a sign. They wanted proof. They wanted to calculate the risk. But the rich, the spiritually rich, they move with faith, not facts. They understand this truth. Divine instruction is always richer than human logic. So when the inner voice says, start the business, give the gift, speak the word, walk away, invest anyway, they don't argue. They act. They obey. And because they obey, abundance follows. The law does not reward hustle. It rewards harmony. When your inner world aligns, your outer world obeys. You don't have to push. You don't have to chase. You don't have to fight. You just have to follow. You've been told all your life, work hard and you'll be rewarded. But the truth is, the universe does not pay by effort. It pays by alignment. There are people who labor endlessly, barely getting by, and others who move with ease and are met with overflow. Why? Because one is chasing, while the other is listening. One is forcing, while the other is flowing. One is doubting, while the other is obeying. Obedience is not about submission. It's not about passivity. It's about recognition, about responding when spirit calls. The rich have trained their minds to listen quickly. They do not delay divine action. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't question the whisper. They follow it. Because they know this: every delay is a denial of destiny. Every hesitation is an interruption of increase. When spirit nudges you, send the message, launch the idea, take the leap, and you pause. You break the rhythm of wealth. Because wealth has rhythm, it flows on frequency. And that frequency responds to swift spiritual obedience. You don't attract abundance by trying harder. You attract it by tuning in to the divine timing, the sacred guidance, the instruction that comes without logic, but full of truth. Those who prosper listen before they understand. They act before it's clear. They trust before it's guaranteed. They plant the seed even when there's no sign of harvest. They sow with faith and reap in alignment. And when fear whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" they declare, "What if it does, multiplied under grace?" They don't serve fear. They serve law. They serve truth. They serve the divine. This is not hustle. This is holy alignment. Let me tell you this now. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. But you must begin to listen faster, to move when you feel the pull, to act when the still small voice speaks. because blessings are not waiting for your perfection. They're waiting for your yes. So say yes, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if your mind doesn't fully understand. Say yes, and let wealth follow your obedience. Obedience is not a punishment. It's a portal, a doorway to transformation. When we choose to surrender to divine will, we open ourselves to a higher purpose. The divine multiplies our efforts, turning our small steps into giant leaps. In this sacred space, we find our true calling, our path to enlightenment. Trust in this journey. Trust in the divine. A doorway to dimensions you cannot yet see, but are already yours. There are people right now living the life you've dreamed of, not because they're better, not because they're smarter, not because they worked harder, but because they moved when Spirit whispered. They didn't wait for certainty. They didn't wait for applause. They didn't wait for their fear to leave. They moved anyway. They understood the law. When divine guidance comes, speed is wealth. Delay is disobedience. And disobedience is expensive. Most people pay for their hesitation in decades of scarcity. They wait too long. They ask too many people. They drown the whisper in noise. And while they wait, the window closes. Because windows open with instruction, but they close with indecision. Your moment is a seed. You must plant it now. Not when it feels perfect, not when you have enough, but now, in trust. Because the moment you obey, the energy shifts. The heavens move. The way clears. The resources rush in. Obedience activates provision. It tells the universe, I'm ready to receive because I'm willing to act. And when you act not in fear, not in force, but in flow, doors appear where there were only walls. Opportunities rise from places you never imagined. People come bearing keys. Support finds you. Money recognizes you. You stop chasing and start attracting. Obedience is not weakness. It is divine intelligence. It is saying, I trust the plan that sees more than I do. I release the timeline and follow the truth. The rich obey quickly. That's why they rise quickly. They do not beg. They do not battle. They align and abundance answers. Because here's what most never learn. Money is not the master. It is the servant. And when you are in obedience, money recognizes you as one who commands with spirit. You don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to earn it through exhaustion. You just have to listen and obey. Let this truth settle deep in your spirit. As you embrace the divine presence, feel how it multiplies within you. Allow its wisdom to guide you. In moments of stillness, you will find clarity. Breathe in this peace and let it fill your soul. You are not here to beg for scraps. You are not here to exhaust your body for approval. You are not here to struggle endlessly, hoping that one day it finally works. You are here to obey the divine law and watch the floodgates open. You are here to tune in to higher instruction and move without resistance, to listen, to follow, to trust. Because that's the real difference. The rich don't work harder. They obey faster. They wake up and ask, "What would you have me do today?" And when the answer comes, they don't second guess it. They move. Even when it makes no sense. Even when others doubt them. Even when fear tries to interrupt. They obey. And because they obey, they are trusted with more. More vision, more clarity, more supply. Because the law always rewards the aligned. You cannot force your way into overflow. You cannot fight your way into favor. You must listen, then leap. You must receive the instruction, then respond with faith. And even if your voice shakes, even if you feel unsure, even if you're the only one moving in that direction, do it anyway. Because divine instructions don't require the world's validation. They only require your yes. So from this moment on, before you try to work harder, pause. Ask instead, have I obeyed the last instruction I received? Did I move when Spirit whispered? Because that is the door. That is the map. That is the code. And when you obey, you won't have to chase money. It will chase you. You won't have to search for opportunity. It will recognize your name. You won't have to prove your worth, because heaven will already have vouched for you. You don't need more hustle. You need more harmony, more stillness, more spiritual trust. Because in the end, the rich don't work harder. They obey faster. And now, so will you.